Hello and welcome to Ratefinity video tutorials. Today we are going to enumerate the properties of an external deck. You can access the properties of a deck by clicking on the edit icon of each deck. The properties are divided in groups. Let's go through each of them. General. Here you will find the code and name, the type of deck, the optional provider, the format the deck will be parsed to, and an optional description. We will talk more about formats in a separate video. Mail and alerts. Here you will find the email address to which Ratefinity will send alerts and parse files of this deck. Dial codes. The properties here will let you change the dial codes in the deck. First, this prefix to remove. Any prefix here will be removed from the dial codes in the deck. Prefix to add. Any prefix here will be added to all dial codes in the deck. Separate dial codes. Set to yes if a row in your deck contains more than one dial code. Exact dial codes to remove. The dial codes in here will be removed from a deck only if they appear exactly as listed here. Separate them via semicolon. Dial codes to remove. The dial codes that have prefixes listed in here will be removed. Zone, country, and area code. Set to yes if your deck has separate columns for country and area code. NAMP. Here you will be able to change properties specific to decks that belong to the North American number plan region. Add 1 to NAMP regions. If set to yes, we'll add 1 in front of all dial codes in this deck. Join NPA and XS columns. If set to yes, it will join NPA and XS columns. Use indeterminate. In case your deck does not contain a column for the indeterminate price, you can select the inter-column, intra-column, or just ignore indeterminate. Use highest price for indeterminate. Again, if your column does not contain a column for the indeterminate price and you're not sure if you want to the inter-intra column, you can select to use the highest price for inter-intra. This overrides the last setting. Use default value. You can choose a default value for the entire deck to use as an indeterminate value. This will override the last two settings. You can set this value here. Filter NAMP toll-free. If set to yes, it will remove all toll-free numbers. Quality. Let's manipulate the call quality settings. CLI. If set to yes, it will assign a default value of true to the CLI property of each route, if no column with that info is present. Direct. If set to yes, it will assign a default value of true to the direct property of each route if no column with that info is present. Parse errors. The properties here will let you control what happens if an error is found on any row of your rate deck. Ignore bad routes. If set to yes, Ratefinity will ignore rows of your deck that have errors, such as repeated dial codes, non-numerical dial codes, or missing prices. Take highest price. If set to yes, Ratefinity will take the highest price in case there are two rows with the same dial code, but with different prices. Error unrepeated. This will override the last two settings and will make the parsing process fail in case a dial code is found more than once. Include only if comments has value. A row in your deck will only be included if the string in the comments field is present. Everything else will be ignored. Billing and increments. Here you can change the billing and increment properties of your deck. Fix international increments. If set to yes, Ratefinity will modify the bill increments of special zones such as Mexico 6060. Minimum increment. The default value of the minimum increment. This will only be added if there is no column with this information. Subsequent increment. The default value of the subsequent increment will only be added if there is no column with this information. The setup fee. The default value for a call setup fee only will be added if there is no column with this value. Connection fee. The default value for a call's connection fee will only be added if there is no column with this information. Add percentage to price enter. If the value is greater than 0, a percentage of the value will be added to the parsed version of the file, only for the price or inter price. The same thing for the intra, the indeterminate version, and the connection fee. Regions. Here you can include or exclude regions. Regions to exclude. All the regions listed here will be excluded from the parsed version of the file. Regions to include. Only the regions here will be included on your parsed version of the deck. Extra settings. There are two values here. The first one, default value for destination. The value here will only be used if there is no column map for the destination field. Same thing for comments. Thank you for watching and have a great day.